We're starting today's abandoned railway adventure by the side of this magnificent bridge. Might just look like an ordinary bridge to you, but in actual fact it's 3 in 1, and you could argue 4 in 1. You have the railway at the top, roadway through the archway nearest us. The next one is sort of a pedestrian archway, and then the one after that carries the canal. 4 in 1. That's economy for you. Built out of local stone. This is the track bed, slightly overgrown as you can see. But from up here you can appreciate the stonework. Massive stones, no bricks here. That'll be the road. And below us now, in a slight depression, is the canal. Slightly better view of a slight depression. You can make it out. Bridge to the right. Now we're going to go along here, which is on the track bed, and this railway goes between Kemble and Cirencester, and it was built by the Great Western Railway. It was opened in 1841, closed 1965. Here's the route on this rather battered old map. There's Kemble, and you can see the railway goes off on a branch there, way up here, and then spins around and ends up in Cirencester. We're concentrating on this little bit in the middle. Views off to the side of the open Cotswolds, and we're on a slight embankment. Now a small cutting with our old friend the railway sleeper fence post. Typical Great Western Railway. And that one's still got the holes in it from carrying the rail chair. A little farther on, and there is a very, very rare find. That's the base of a plate layer's hut. Doorway through there, and from here on up it would have been all wooden construction, held on by these bent metal stays, brackets, which are all the way around. And the guys that use this would have been responsible for general rail maintenance, rails, banks and cuttings, the lot. Many a brew had in there, you would imagine. Then here in the undergrowth is a small pile of bricks, debris, some other structural building, fence posts, sentinels. They've seen life. It's a bit sticky going on this bit. Normally railways are very well drained, but this one's in a slight cutting. And it's full of mud. Churned up by our horsey friends, of course. All of which somewhat detracts from trying to look for railway infrastructure. Alright, through it now. And the line is rising slightly, so hopefully we've put the muddy bit behind us. That's kind of historic look. If you look at the railway fence posts, there's wooden sleeper, and then because the railway was still open in the 1950s and 60s, there's also tapered concrete posts. So you get a mixture of the two. A lot of abandoned railways, you just get one or the other. A lot of my filming has been down in the Forest of Dean. Of course down there, nothing so modern as a concrete post. And a bridge hoves into view. Very pretty here in the middle of the countryside. And that's a mixture of stone, local stone, and brick. It's in good condition. Blue engineering brick under the arch. You can just make out a tapering abutment there under the ivy. Built to take the sideways load. There's a nice chamfer on there, look. Decorative. You'd have to say, pretty fine blockwork. Foundation layer. And then the rest of the structure rising up from it. I've just walked through the bridge and I'm looking back. And if I pan round to the right, there was a station here in the 1960s. Well, actually it was described as a halt, so a temporary wooden structure, which is why there's nothing left now. And it was experimented using it with a diesel rail car. And this is quite fortuitous. There's a rail car, actually loading up at Kemble station on the Cirencester platform, ready to spring off to Cirencester along these very lines. Regrettably, it didn't work out, and a few years later the line closed. Then on this side, crumbling quietly away, is a grit box, more likely for station platform use rather than for the trains. We now make our way up there. Here you see the bridge is a very humped back affair. Kemble. Cirencester. I'm not sure how you would have got to the station or the halt. There's a slight depression there on the left. But then on this side, there it is. Proper access road, so you went down there, turned left under the bridge, up onto your halt. Line of the railway on your right, and then over there, on the horizon, woodland. Railway Coppice Wood. Who would have thought? We're turning our back on the railway now, heading down here. All in all, you'd have this down as pretty good walking weather. It's warm, not too hot. The sun comes out now and again. There's very little wind. I shouldn't be here. We've ditched the path and taken to a woodland path instead. A famous shortcut. Another famous trig shortcut, or walking in the high roads with a familiar Cotswold stone wall for company. At a T-junction, turn right. Well, we're kind of in the middle of nowhere, and this is something of a leap of faith really. The book says the path should turn right here. There's no signs, no stiles. Just give it a shot. Well, it's looking possible. Cross the wooden stile by some tatty pines. Bit unkind, but I know what he means. And this is this farmer's idea of a wooden stile. Oh, well, that wasn't very elegant. Right. More tatty pines. And what you see on our left, or rather you don't see, is the embankment of our railway. Across the stile by the next pair of tatty pines. I think this farmer missed out on the stile making course. See if we can do any better. Having negotiated those hazards, we're now back to the railway, this time high above us. It's going to need some work doing on it, sooner or later, but it gives you an idea of the height of the embankment. As it whistles on along there, heading for Cirencester. Interestingly, it looks like it was once provided with a gate. Unofficial perhaps. On the opposite side, there's this thing here, which is a bent rail. Possibly it was something to do with the officialdom then. At this point we turn our back on the railway. There's the embankment. And if we turn half right, there's another embankment. And that is the Thames and Severn canal. I can't show you the proof at the moment because it's somebody's garden. Be patient. When you're looking from here, you can see lumps and hollows and the line of the depression. Hard to imagine this was a canal. Another one of these. This one looks like a bit of a mountaineering job. We leave the green grass behind us at this point and take to the highway. That time of year, if we leave the road for a minute, batter our way through here, there is the remains of the Thames and Severn canal, and right by a very pretty bluebell wood. And the characteristic Cotswold stone wall, which means this would have been the towpath on this side. Onward! You can just make out the edge of the towpath here. Once ringing to the sound of bargees, now just birdsong. The road takes a right here. As you can see, we go up here to what was once a bridge, but is now just a hump in the road, which is where it crosses the Thames and Severn. You might just make it out through the undergrowth on that side, but you get a better view from here. No water in it now. Onward they cry, onward. And eventually this brings us back to the bridge where we first left the railway this morning. So we've gone round in a loop and we eventually end up where we started. After getting down here at our three-way or possibly four-way bridge. We're not quite done yet. Without showing you Kemble station, and this rather forlorn looking siding was the terminus and starting point for our branch line, just round the back of Kemble station. Here's a rather good photograph here of the station. You've got the branch line to Cirencester heading off to the right there with all the goods traffic on it and a passenger carriage up in the station, and then you've got the main line between Cheltenham and Paddington going underneath the footbridge, about 1950. This is the very end looking towards London, and then main line on your right, and on the left you can see the branch line going off to Cirencester. Here's a rather beautiful painting of Kemble station. There's the main line train there, just pulling out. It's got the signal. And there on the right is the branch to Cirencester, complete with its station. Oh, lovely. And as for the Cirencester end, that's it. Still got the old platform edge, and that's your lot. All done. Unbelievably, a couple of days after I'd finished filming, this appeared in the local newspaper. They're talking about reopening the line. 3 to 5 years they reckon that would take. It's not April the 1st, I went and checked.